Blog Talk Radio.
He is the last of his kind. All that remains of a once powerful nation. Some think he is a myth. Some believe he is the chosen one, who will bring balance to a world at war. And some will stop at nothing to destroy him.
Welcome, everyone to Morris Talk Live 100. I'm your host, Tarhaka Amana El Bay. And tonight, our special guest will be Nicola M. Hurst. And we'll be dealing with the current events in America. We're also going to be discussing our own personal spiritualism and the different components that we should use to aid us in the United States. She'll be with us. We'll be dealing with the following questions. I'll be asking and answering these questions. What is the deep state? What's that all about? What is going on with the protesting, all this protesting from one end of America to the other? What is this 5G technology all about? What role is the media playing in the current events and current circumstances that's going on in this country and other parts of the world? What is happening behind the scenes? What's next to happen in America? What happens to your body when you constantly wear face masks restricting your breathing? Was the murder of George Floyd first-degree murder? Has any of the men who killed him been killed yet? Has anybody killed him yet? Just a question. Well, we're going to go over here to these commercials, and when we come back, we're going to deal with some of this stuff. Y'all hold on for a moment. I'll be right back.
Tarhaka here. We have our secure party and creditor package. Go to www.newdebtelimination.com. That's newdebtelimination.com. Get yourself free. Learn how to be a secured party. Learn how to be a creditor. Learn how to establish your trust. newdebtelimination.com. Okay, everybody, Tarhaka here again. Now, I know most of you all already know that all mortgages is illegal. But how do we go about getting rid of that mortgage debt? What about the foreclosure situation? What do we do? What steps do we take? Go to www.newdebtelimination.com. That's www.newdebtelimination.com. And so that we can assist you in solving that problem. Also, keep in mind that our new website is up and running. That's www.tarhakadebtelimination.org. That's tarhakadebtelimination.org. Got a problem with mortgages or foreclosure? newdebtelimination.com. newdebtelimination.com. Hey everybody, this is Tarhaka again. I would like to introduce you to the Great Debate. We now have copies of the Great Debate. Dr. Walter Williams debates Prince Ezio ben Israel of the Hebrew Israelites Also, Reverend Henry Hardy of one of the most prominent churches in Chicago, Illinois. Chester Blair, a major attorney in Chicago. And Munir Muhammad of the Nation of Islam. The whole thing is hosted by W.L. Lillard. Dr. Walter Williams debate these men on their belief versus what he knows for a fact and he can prove. Get your copy by going to www.tarhakadebtelimination.org. That's tarhakadebtelimination.org, or you can go to newdataelimination.com. newdataelimination.com. Contact me for your copies. Okay? The great debate. You got any questions, just give me a shout. Peace. Okay, everybody. The first day of spring is on March 19th. Let's strengthen our immune systems. We got the coronavirus thing going around. Our new debtelimination.org site is available. newdataelimination.org. We got your moringa powder. It's ready. We got your 8-ounce sealed organic moringa powder by the jar, and it's going by the case. We also got your 10-ounce jars sealed organic moringa powder right there. newdebtelimination.org. That's newdebtelimination.org. Get your fresh moringa powder so that you can strengthen your immune system. Sprinkle a little bit on your food, or if you want to make you a smoothie on your drinks or your salad, however you want to do it, go get your moringa powder at newdebtelimination.org and go ahead and strengthen your immune system. Okay? Fight these viruses and things.
Okay, everybody, we back. Let's deal with this thing, this deep state stuff, because I don't think a lot of people are aware of what's going on. There are things that's going on behind the scenes. The question is, what is the deep state? We got the powers that be. I know you've heard of this guy's called the Black Pope, and then you got the Vatican, and then you got the Illuminati, and all these people. And what they are doing is they are trying to usher in what they are calling a new world order. But the bottom line is what it is nothing more than reducing the Earth's population. And because nobody's volunteering to die, and they're coming up with all these statistics about, well, we're running out of this and we're running out of that, and the Earth is being threatened by so many billions of people and all this stuff. But we're not doing any count. They got these so-called experts that's doing all this, and they're coming up with all of these plans and stuff. And there are things that's going on behind the scenes that we really need to pay attention to. We really should do an investigation on this stuff ourselves so that we can keep up with what's going on. Now, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali has already stated that the day is going to come when you would try to go to a store and try to make a purchase, and there'll be soldiers at the store with guns and bayonets on them to keep you from actually making a purchase or something out of that store. And, of course, they're trying to put the chip inside of you, and once they do that, the main thing is to take away any kind of freedom that you could possibly have. And it coincides with what's going on in the United States with all of this protesting. We got people protesting. You look out there, the people that's protesting. You can't see us who's supposed to be protesting for all these other people out there protesting. These people are being paid to be out there. You got police officers that's out there in plain clothes with masks on protesting. These people are being paid. The same thing occurred when they were, all these people are supposed to have come up from the border, leaving South America, coming up, and they got to build the big wall and all this. You got film crews out there on the scene. You got people walking around. They're supposed to have walked all over 400-500 miles barefooted. In flip-flops, and that's an impossibility. They got makeup on, lipstick, brand new haircuts, designer bags, all this stuff going on. But it backfired on them because Mr. Suarez messed around and didn't pay these people on time. And they stopped protesting. You know, Suarez, where's our money? Where's our money? And then you look at the situation when you pay attention to stuff. We got people protesting, and overnight, out of the clear blue sky, no media footage, no cameras, nobody saw anything. You got whole pallet loads of bricks being put out to be taken and used to destroy businesses and stuff. And they've even seen police officers unloading bricks to to be used to throw at people, win and destroy. And then you got small businesses setting their own businesses on fire in order to collect insurance money. You got companies that's no longer function as companies that you can go to and get a job and work in the office. Since the corona thing hit and they shut everybody down and all the businesses down and the CEOs is working in the house and the employees, they're working from home. They said, well, hey, this turns out to be pretty good. So we're going to keep it like that. So if you want a job with us, you're going to have to sign up online. You'll be able to be employed online and work from the privacy of your home. So all of this stuff is going on. Then we have the 5G technology. Now, what I've personally done is I got a meter, a radiation detector, and I went over and aimed it toward the meter and watched the numbers go through the roof. And when I turn away from this tower, the numbers begin to drop immediately and immensely. But when I aim it back at it, the numbers fly back off the roof. So I went several different towers across the city that I live in, and the same thing occurred. Each time I get in close proximity of these towers and I aim that meter at that tower, the numbers begin to go off the Richter scale. And I know that the body can only stand so much radiation, but what happens when they turn these things up? And people with low immune system or suppressed immune system, they have problems. And people are succumbing to this stuff. And then you put one and one together, which makes two. You got planes flying through the air, dropping off chemtrails, and we know that stuff have aluminum particles in it and stuff. This stuff coming down to the ground, we're breathing that. On top of the fact that we eat meat and processed foods and all of this stuff, and our immune system becomes suppressed. So what we'll have to do is strengthen our immune system, and you can take your phone and download an app of a meter right there on your phone, a radiation detector right there on your phone, and perform the same experiment with the towers that are coming up in your city. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And when you strengthen your immune system, your chances of survival increases. You got a good, strong immune system. You have a nice, healthy diet. You're drinking good, pure water. You're abstaining from any type of drugs or anything of that nature. And you're making sure, because see, we're at a point now in the United States. We as a people are well. First of all, there's no such thing as black people, but the Moors and the Egyptians, same people, they are under attack today, and we're going to have to change our status and refer to ourselves and stop being a nationless people. When you are considering yourself to be black, there's no standing in law for you. There's no such thing as black people. And all these signs about Black Lives Matter, well, Black lives don't matter because there's no such thing as black people. Everybody on the planet got a nationality, but for some unknown reason, people who look like me in this country insist on being black. You don't have no standing in law. There's no respect for you. There's no laws that they bound to respect in regards to black people, because there are no black people. So you're going to have to change your status and be who you are supposed to be. We got Chinese people, they associate with the land called China. You got Japanese people, they associate with a land called Japan. We got Korean people, there's a land called Korea. We got British people, there's a land called Britain. We have Jamaican people, there's Jamaica. We got Cubans, there's Cuba. We got English, there's England. We got Scandinavia, there's Scandinavia. And the list goes on and on and on. We got Hawaiian people, there's Hawaii. And but where is black people and where is black land? It does not exist. There's no such thing as an African American. No such thing. There's no such thing as a black American, Afro American, Negro, colored, black. None of this has any standing in law. Egypt is in the east and the west. Take a hold to your identity. The Egyptians, the Moors, one and the same people. That's who you are. Get out of the biblical information. Everybody that was born inside that Bible, lived inside that Bible, and died inside that Bible. That's where it came from. So we got to get away from that. Now, what part is the media playing in this situation that's going on inside the country? What are they doing about it? Because it seems to me, if you're constantly stating a situation, you want that in the conscious mind of the people. And you're constantly talking about the coronavirus, and all of a sudden, this man, George Floyd, is murdered, and everybody start talking about the murder of George Floyd, but nothing from anybody, no more, about the coronavirus. What happened? So the media is involved in controlling the minds of the people based on the information that they put out, and we're constantly looking at it because we're looking at things that we calling it news. We call it TV and the news on. My question is, what news? Ain't no news. You ain't getting no news from the people. They're giving you indoctrination. That's what you're getting from them. But nevertheless, it appears that my guest is in the queue. I'm going to open up the phone lines and let her in. Area code 832. Nicola M. Hurst, are you with me?
I'm with you, and I apologize for the delay. I had a little family issue I had to take care of, but I'm here.
That's all right, sister. You aboard. It's time for us to get it on. And I want you to tell the people who you are and tell us a little bit about yourself when you have the floor.
Hi, family. My name is Nicola Hurst, and I am the CEO of Vocal Alchemy, LLC, and Life Alchemy Life Coaching, where I help you to find a way to come transmute your mundane into the majestic. We use all the energy that you think is bad or whatever's stopping you from being everything you want to be and alchemize it so that you can be your highest and greatest self. And I'm thinking that one of the reasons why I'm on air with my brother Tarhaka, and thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your broadcast tonight, is because I'm also a 12-year veteran of the United States Air Force, and I, along with a lot of other my veteran sisters and brothers, we're kind of putting the pieces of the puzzle of all of this foolishness that we're dealing with right now together in order to help bring our family into some center of what's going on and how to protect yourself. So if you have concerns about 5G network, coronavirus, go to www.nhalchemy.com. That's NHAlchemy, ALCHEMY.com. There's a download, 11 pages, that talks to you about how to protect yourself. And there's also a shop there on NHAlchemy.com that gives you materials to wear to protect yourself against the radiation that is coming against us. And also, if you are stressed out and you need somebody to talk to for coaching, book an appointment with me. I hand it to you, brother.
Okay, sister. Well, could you, what is it like? Because I've always wondered ever since they started allowing women to come into the military, I always wondered about that. What was it like for you in the military? What is it like for a woman to be in the military?
I think it's different for different branches. There's much more. I see much more African Americans in the Army per se than the Air Force. The Air Force was considered somewhat like a white male elitist club, and my introduction and my basic training in the Air Force was, nigga gal, what are you doing in my Air Force?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, so there's the setup right there of some of the things that I dealt with as not only a woman but also a black person in the Air Force in particular. For the most part, I came into a very supportive unit of black women that were my mentors, my first unit. But I found out that there was a lot of racism and a lot of sexism that is not talked about, that is going under the radar because of, the inability to fight up the chain of command to get your voice heard or whatever. And they do more to kick us out without giving us our just due of being in there. A lot of women end up leaving without their, their honorable discharge, which affects civilian jobs and things like that. A lot of us go through not only sexual harassment but sexual assault, which I have. And I fought a case all the way up the chain of command, all the way to Congress, only to have my report come back with 4 words: he was only playing. So a lot of us go through a really rough time with having to deal with the sexism and the racism, along with the stress of just being in a place where you have to serve on that, in that way anyway. So it's not always a pretty picture for women.
Okay, now what about physical assault?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've definitely gone through some physical assault being a woman in the military. And then the medical assault that we go through, because most of the times people don't recognize that when you sign up, you are literally just governmental property. And in my case, there was a situation where the base hospital used my body for experiments against my will. So I've had to deal with some situations that wasn't pretty, and a lot of us do, but not many people talk about it. And it took me a long time to talk about it as well. So I'm bringing it to light. And speaking of that, one of the things that I do is I have a webinar for military sexual trauma, those who are out there who have served that never talked about it or are trying to heal through it. That's also on nhalchemy.com. Is a whole webinar where I do healing modalities for us to get back in touch with that pain so that we can release it from the body and allow us to heal from it. And also there's some downloads on that as well. So I try to position myself to coach those who have gone through the same thing. I've tried everything to heal, and I found some things that work, and I'm just sharing it with those who need it.
Okay. Now, when you were in the military, because this is, to me, I've already always wondered about sisters being in the military. And I wonder, how is it for them and what's going on? But being on the outside, I never heard any of this that you're telling me. Even though I suspect it because I understand the nature of the of the people on this planet, especially the people inside of this country. I understand their nature. I understand the racism, the sexism, stuff like this. But I never got any information on actually what was going on in there. Do you know of any of the sisters that had been raped in there?
I deal with them all the time. Yeah. And you've been in the military too, Brother Tarhaka, correct? I'm sorry?
Huh?
And so you've been in the military as well, right?
No, I was trained by a private elite group of people that came out of Vietnam. This was very, very private.
Okay.
The only orders I took was from these men here, and they were the best.
Okay.
That's what happened in my case.
Okay. So when you're in the military, you have something called a chain of command. And you're not supposed to skip through the chain of command in order to file a report. You go through the chain of command, up the chain of command. So it could be your supervisor and then that person's supervisor and then on and on and on. But if your chain of command is linked up, the people that violated you were friends with somebody in the chain of command, and you make a report, you file against that person, then who do you have to go through? If you skip over the chain of command and go over those people, then you got to fight the repercussions that may come against you for doing that. And 9 times out of 10, women will get kicked out before they get justice. And they'll get kicked out and stripped of any, anything that's owed to them or due to them and their, benefits when they get kicked out. So they lose everything.
Okay.
So it's not an easy thing to go up to the chain of command, particularly as I did in the Air Force. I had to fight tooth and nail to go up the chain of command, but I did so and still didn't get justice. But I did it purposely to leave a paper trail for the woman coming behind me, because I wanted to make sure that somebody voiced it and said something so that if anybody else ever went through this, they could see on paper, this is not the first time this ever happened.
Well, me personally, I don't think I would have made it. Matter of fact, I know for a fact I wouldn't have made it, because as soon as they give me a gun, I already know what I'm going to do. Ain't gonna be no paper unless it's death certificate. But anyway, tell me about, explain to us about metaphysics. What's your take on that? Because a lot of us don't know about it. Alchemy.
So all of us are. If you know science, you know that all of us are energy, right? Well, frequency. We operate at a certain vibration. Everything operates at a certain vibration.
That's right.
Even within you, when you change emotions, you operate at a certain vibration. Sadness is a vibration. Joy is a vibration. Peace is a vibration. Your plants are a certain vibration. The resonance of the earth is a certain vibration. Everything is a vibration and a frequency, a wave. A wave. That's what a frequency is. When you're working in metaphysics, it's being able to tap into that frequency or that vibration to realize that there's more that exists in the world than what you see. It is dealing with the physics of the mind, the physics of spirit, of air, of the things that you cannot see. When I speak of alchemy, we know the term alchemy comes from transferring metals into certain other form. When I speak of alchemizing, life alchemy, life coaching, I speak of alchemizing not the metals but the air, alchemizing energy, alchemizing those vibrations. So the way it will look in physical form is I go through a negative event. I can take that vibration of that negative event, such as the abuse that I went through in the military. That's horrible, nasty, negative events. Is resonating at a low vibration, okay? I take that event and I decide that I am not going to allow this event to break me. But I'm going to take that energy and I'm going to transform, because you can't destroy energy. You can only transform energy. I'm going to take that energy and I'm going to mold it into something that I can use for power, which is why my ministry, when I was in ministry, was called From Pain to Power Ministries. But I'm alchemizing it into a form that is now positive. So I took all of the hardships that I went through in the military. I transformed that energy, and I give it back to the world with my life coaching, with my webinars, with my ability to heal other people, because I can show them how to move from one form into the next form. That's alchemizing that energy. That's using metaphysics.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, what part does external devices play? Like we have different stones and stuff. We have sage. We have copper. We have different things that we can use, because here in my home, I saw you in one of your videos, you were talking about the sage, and I got some sage in here, and if I have a visitor or something, if I detect any negative energy, even negative energy on myself, I'll light up that sage. I'll go through the house, and I'll put that sage about, and periodically I use different stones and stuff. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, when I was talking about when the video he's referring to is protecting you through COVID-19 and 5G radiation. If you all haven't gone to listen to that video, please do. And I'm also still updating people on Courage to Change. I forgot to talk to you about my YouTube video as well, Courage to Change. So go to Courage to Change on YouTube and subscribe. But I'm saying that in the time that I was in the military, I worked in technology to try to help devise things for the Air Force. And so what I learned along the way is that we use technology all the time I say the U.S. government used these waves, these frequencies to combat the enemy in certain ways. And so they tapped into that frequency, that vibration that can overcome the enemy. And this radiation that is coming off that they've been using, but that it's coming off of your telephones, your computers, it's a radiation that is actually dangerous to your health. It is destroying your cells. On a metaphysical level, it pierces your aura. And the 5G, especially because it's a shorter wave, so it's a much more powerful wave against you, radiation against you. And so I was saying that there are ways that you can protect yourself to kind of dissipate some of the waves that are coming at you, some of the radiation that is coming at you, using things that our ancestors used long time ago. Things like selenite, which cleanses the aura, and it helps you to restore. It actually cleanses all of your stones as well. But some of your most powerful stones on the planet are black stones like tourmaline and obsidian and let's see, what do I have? Obsidian and tourmaline, and you got
quartz crystals.
Quartz crystals. I lost my paperwork now because I can't remember what I said. But yeah, you have all of these various stones and things that the darker stones actually give you. They absorb energy, negative energy. They absorb a lot of radiation. So like black tourmaline helps to strengthen your immune system as well. It balances the left side of your hemisphere of the brain. and a right side, and it detoxifies your body. And it also helps you. Black tourmaline, when you're using it, it helps when you're dealing with illnesses such as like bronchitis, emphysema, pneumonia, pleurisy, things like that. But when you put the tourmaline around your computers, your house, it protects your office and your home against all of these electromagnetic wave fields that surround your devices, and it kind of helps that to dissipate a bit because it's absorbing that. Now, that when you do that, you got to make sure you're charging these stones on a regular basis as well. So put it in the sunlight and let it recharge so that you can pull that negative energy out of it. You can also use things like shungite, and shungite, that's the one I couldn't think of. Like I was like obsidian. Yeah, obsidian does the same thing as drawing out negative energy to protect you from a lot of this microwave. It also so shungite also cures you and purifies your water. If you get the shungite elite stones, they purify your water. But it does the same thing. It normalizes the energy around you. It restores it, protects, it heals. And so you want to make sure that you use these stones to help ground you from some of these waves that are coming against you, and help you pull some of that negative energy off of you. And the other thing, we're talking about sage, and I said that sage, it has more. We see it a lot of times. Well, a lot of people see it as a spiritual thing to do, a ritualistic thing to do from Native American, practice of using sage. But sage actually purifies your atmosphere when you burn it, and it actually removes at least 94% of the bacteria that's in your air. So whenever you smudge, you are cleansing your air, and scientists have found that when you go back the next day, the air is still pretty clear. And so I've been encouraging people to use sage just to remove anything that could possibly be harmful in your air as you're going through this crazy time of COVID-19. Does that help?
Okay. Well, yeah. That was a great help. I'm going to have to get me some of those stones that you're talking about, but I do have a system that I use when I'm done for the day. I unplug the computers. Everything is unplugged. Cell phone is placed up in the front of the house, and I have what's called a blaster. This is a machine that they use if you have a dead body in a house or something that's been in there for a long time, and they'll put this thing in there and cut on the air conditioner, and it'll cleanse the air. So I have this thing going. It goes along with the circulation of the air, the circulation of circulating of the heat that's circulating inside your environment. So I use that. But occasionally I'll take my sage and I'll light it up, and I'll go through the house with it, and I'll go in every room, and then I'll let it burn until it burns out. And but I do that when I'm not using the blaster, the air purifier. I'm not using that, so I'll use the sage, and once I use the sage, I'll let the sage linger in there until it completely goes out, and then I'll put it up, and I'll come back periodically and do that. And I have plants in my home which purify the air. Some of them I've given away. I got to go back and get some more, but I love plants. I love to grow things. We grow our own food down here. We have gardens and trees, and I just planted a plum tree, and it's come up on ground. I'm so proud of him, I don't know what to do.
That's
and
good.
Just planted the peach tree, and we'll see what it's going to do. So it's getting a lot of rainwater right now, and I have a couple of water lilies outside. But plants to me, I've been dealing with plants so long. Plants to me, they just like people.
Yeah, you got to talk to them. They resonate.
Yeah.
432 hertz. They feel you too.
Yeah, they can see you too.
Yeah.
I had an irrigated ficus tree that my sister gave me, and I had him up in my front office up here, and he was beautiful. But the thing was, he was a tree, and he was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I said, wait a minute. I said, bro, I'm going to have to take you out of here, and I'm going to put you in the living room. You'll have plenty of light and, to be all right. The whole while I had that tree, he never shedded a leaf. Never did. But when I moved him and put him in the living room, I come back and he had 2 or 3 leaves on the floor. And so I picked him up and I put him in the trash, and I come back the next day and looked again. There were more leaves on the floor. I said, okay, you don't like it in here. So I took him in the other room and put him directly in the window so he get all the light he wants. He didn't like it in there either. So I said, now look, this is my house. You come out because I can't put you back up in the front, because after a while you're going to be so big I can't get you out of here. So I had to end up giving him away, and I really didn't want to give him away, but I had to give him away. So, boy, me and him were going round and round by me moving him. He didn't like that business, and he let me know that this is my room up here, and you can have the rest of the house, but this is mine. I said, no, it ain't mine too. So I learned about these trees and plants and stuff, and they don't like to be moved too often, and they get in an area where they like, and they'll grow and thrive, and they don't want to be bothered, and you, like you say, you have to talk to them and all of that. But anyway, let me ask you this right here. Now, what do you think about the coming attractions in America? What do you think we are coming up next, in your opinion?
Okay, so this
never had it.
There is a small section of people, we would call them the cabal, a group of people that have an agenda for us, society, that basically are constantly structuring all the things that we are dealing with on this planet so that they can stay in ultimate control and ultimate power. And the only thing they want to do is either utilize our bodies as their robots or their slaves, or get rid of us. Okay. And they feel like there's, because this mentality comes from folks from the ice, more Eurocentric thinking people. We're sun people, we're not ice people. They realize that they have a timeline on their existence on this planet, because they're becoming extinct. There's birth dearth happening, and they recognize that their numbers are not what they should be in order for them to stay in existence on this planet. So these people are literally fighting for their life right now. They're fighting not just for their life. We're fighting for our lives. They're fighting for their existence on this planet. Okay. They're fighting for their existence on this planet, and they're fighting by any means necessary. So they've had plans since they orchestrated this in Holland back in the 1400s with the priests in the Catholic Church, of how they're going to use these various plagues and these various biological weaponry against the society to keep us subjected to them. Mainly as black people they're trying to knock off, but they don't care who gets in the way. They're knocking off their own people just so that they can maintain power and control of this whole thing. almost every plague that we've had that came out of some military base somewhere, right? So coronavirus is not new to me. I mean, we've seen that with Spanish flu. We've seen that with whatever plague. We've had bird flu, swine flu, all of it. It's all been orchestrated by some official bigger than us. They take something natural and they'll manifest it in a way that they can weaponize it against the public. And to me, the coronavirus is no different. So I don't see this being some random situation by some bat in China that caused the whole planet to be in the situation that it's in. This is strategically designed by the powers that be. And so coronavirus point 1 has already rolled out. See how the masses will, how they'll act when they're put in the shelter. They always use preemptive programming to let you know what they're going to do. So they already told you exactly what the script was going to look like the last time by putting out the movie Contagion. Anybody ever watched that movie Contagion? The virus came out of China, and that movie, it was like Hong Kong. I didn't even watch it when it first came out. I watched it after the coronavirus hit. I'm like, let me go back and see what they done told us. And so they went back, and I'm like, oh, they're playing this script line for line, where everything is just the script is rolling out just the way they told you in the Hollywood movies. Y'all have to pay attention to Hollywood movies and watch these movies with a critical eye, because they're always showing you what their game plan is. They always tell you what it is. You just got to watch the programming. They're getting your mind ready for what's about to roll out. So the coronavirus hits and puts us all in this position where it's knocking out the small businesses, messing with your money, putting you in a desperate position so that you can basically become malleable in their hands. Do whatever they tell you to do. You're too desperate to even fight it because you want to survive. Financially, you're falling apart, whatever. You got to pay attention. It is all a script. So they have to roll out now coronavirus 2.0. It's coming. And so they put you in a position where you're in unrest. You're agitated because you've been cooped up in your house. You're frustrated because you don't have your job taking care of you anymore. You're frustrated because, you've been locked up with some of you, been locked up with people you don't even want to be locked up with all this time. You're scared because you don't know if you're going to get sick or if your loved ones are going to get sick. And then you got a whole other group of people that are in extreme grief because they have lost a lot of people. A lot of people died. Some of us have been touched by this with our family members. We know people who have passed away because of this whole situation. So you got all of this unrest. And then they set you up with a public lynching. Chauvin.
Okay.
They pushed you over the edge. They pushed you into this position. They pushed this agitation because they're trying to get a reaction. And they got the reaction that they wanted. Now, I know that you don't believe in the spirit world the way I believe in the spirit world, Brother Tarhaka, but I am.
Oh, yes, I do.
I have always. Okay, I don't know, because, from what I understand, you said,
I'm not a religious person.
Okay,
but
all
I'm
right.
fully aware of the power of true spiritualism.
Okay. So you understand when I say they meant it for evil, but spirit means it for good. They meant to take you out, but spirit is on our side. We have ancestors on our side. We have help on our side. I just need us to wake up and see who we are and what we're working with. You understand what I'm saying? Because this is a pivotal moment. We could allow them to do what they want to do, or we can turn the narrative on them upside down if we wake all the way up. And that means that we have to wake up with real strategy on how we are going to plan this next phase of whatever they're trying to roll out. So you got this unrest. You've waken up the world. The world cannot discount what happened right now. The world cannot, justify a man putting his knee on somebody's neck for 8-9 minutes. There's no justification for that. Once upon a time ago, I used to work as in law enforcement for juvenile detention center, and the certain holds that you learn to take a person down. Well, you're not killing them to have to put them in a restraint position. That's not necessary. And I'm a woman. I'm only 5'7", and I've had to take down men 6 foot tall, and I didn't have to do all of that to restrain a person. So I'm saying, if you're trained, you know how to do this without hurting somebody. There was nothing that justified the level of restraint, the 5-point positional restraint. That's a martial arts hold. The Marine Corps used that hold on people to kill the enemy. That's a killing hold. Nobody uses that to restrain a person. That was set up purposely to kill him the way they killed him. Knowing that there's no way for the world to watch that and try to figure out how to justify a way around that anymore like they used to do. They used to tell us stuff like, well, if you just pull up your pants, well, if you just, obey what the police said, or if you just, they always got an excuse for it. If we just do this, there's nothing to justify that action, right? So you woke the world up, black people, all right? We got the world awakened. What do we want out of this moment? That's the question. What are we going to do with this moment? That is the question. How are we going to utilize this moment and not allow any and every other group to hijack this moment from us? That is the question. And we have to be very strategic about how we do that. I don't think it's wise to give all of my insight on how I think we should do that on the air, but I think that we need to figure out how to do that, right? So the first thing is thinking about, the moment that we're in, utilizing this to flip the system for us or destroy the system and recreate our own. Because this is a turning point moment. After COVID-19, you cannot go back to normal. So anybody that's out there still thinking, well, we're just going back to normal, we will never go back to normal. That's out. We have to figure out how to live off of this matrix, how to get out of this matrix and live independently from this matrix, and to utilize this moment to flip the system on its head so that we come out ahead in the game. And like I said, I won't spell all of that out, my thoughts on that. I just feel like you need to understand this is the moment that we're in, and it's a critical, crucial moment. So instead of you taking the time to give the cops free PR by dealing with them and taking pictures with them and giving the news something to try to manipulate your mind with, maybe you're playing with your brain, trying to get you to dumb down again and shut up, with the PR ops and the whole nine. Just stop all of that foolishness and figure out exactly what you want and exactly how to get it using this moment. Don't let anybody else ride your coattail right now. This is not a minorities fight right now. I'm saying black, African in particular, around the diaspora, because every time we say minorities, other people slip in that they ain't doing nothing for us. And we get lost in the narrative every time. So this is our moment, black people, African people around the diaspora, to organize and strategize for our own purpose right now. You don't have time to think about everybody else right now. This is our movement, our moment. Our ancestors gave it to us. Utilize it for the best of our ability. But also don't get blinded by the fact that I think this is just my prediction. I don't have any facts on this, Tarhaka. I don't know this for a fact. But I predict by October or November time frame, y'all going to see this huge spike in coronavirus. And all of a sudden, all of these people are going to, quote, unquote, start dying off. And it's going to be worse than the first time. That's my prediction. They're also creating a famine. They're positioning you for a famine right now. So I'm telling people to stock up on food, grow a garden, do what you can to start positioning yourself now for that shortage that's going to happen. And get yourself ready for when they start locking you in again. Now, they sent all of these agitators out there among the protesters to try to spike things to make it look worse than it is, because they're trying to find a narrative to try to paint a reason to create martial law also. To push us in a position where they say, well, we got to pull the military out on, American citizens. So you got a lot of different pieces of the puzzle that's going on right now. And like I said, ultimately it's all about domination and control, but these people are on their way out and they know it. But wouldn't you fight to the death if you really understood that you were almost extinct? Can you really blame them? See, I blame us for not fighting back. I blame us for not taking care of ourselves in the same way that they're taking care of themselves.
That's correct.
So it's up to us to fight for our own survival right now, because they're definitely fighting for theirs.
Okay. All right, sister. Well, I tell you what, we've almost done an hour here, and I'm going to take a little quick break. Ladies and gentlemen, the number to dial into the broadcast is 319-527-6084. Our special guest is Nicola M. Hurst. And press 1 on your phone. That'll give me an indication that you got something to say. 319-527-6084. And we will be right
We could talk about them as being ice people, as against the sun people. And that explanation is valid. I have no problems with it. We can talk about them in terms of their protecting their more recessive genes against our more dominant genes. We can even get into a little psychoanalysis and deal with the myth of length of penises and penis envy and all the other things, and black balls and white balls and brown balls and black holes and white balls rolling into black holes and things of this nature. And all that's fine. That's a lot of fun. But no matter how you explain why or how the European got to the point of victimizing us, I think the essential issue is that the European victimizes us because he can, because he has the power to do so. And we are victimized because we haven't developed the power to prevent his doing so. So in a sense, no matter how we explain why he does what he does, at the end point, he does what he does because he can. And consequently then, I infer from this that we can end his victimization of us when we end his power to do so. And consequently, I want to bring into the domain of discussion in this community the subject matter of power. I want us, in addition to studying black history and culture, to study power, its accumulation, its use, and application. We should talk about it every day and everywhere. We should read about it, and we should develop the means of using it. We should come to understand the nature of how white power is organized. In the end, power does not flow from the genes of white folk. Does that not flow from their ice age? It flows from the nature of their organization and the way they have chosen to relate one to the others. And it flows from their intentionality as a people and their appropriate organization of themselves to realize their intentionality, one of which is, of course, the domination of African people. And that means then that we as African people must study the rules of organization. We must study the means of relating one to each other in such a way that we multiply our power. And we must study our enemy's organization such that we can probe that organization.
Okay, we back. Sister, you still with me?
I'm here.
That was Professor Amos Wilson. And I thought I'd add that little plug in there because we haven't touched on racism. What is your position on that?
Well, you know, I love everything Dr. Wilson teaches. I listen to him all the time. It's the same thing that I was saying earlier, and he talked about he mentioned the work of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing in the snippet that you just played. These people are diabolical. They know that this time is up. They have, you know, this is the thing that I think about sometimes. You know, I guess when something comes at you and you're living in a peaceful space and a place and you're not expecting war to come at you, you know, and then all of a sudden these folks come out of nowhere with a warrior mentality, taking over, pillaging, and positioning themselves to subjugate you, then it's one thing to see how you could be off-centered, not ready, not prepared, not ready to protect yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first takeover, you know, I could understand. You know, we're Sun people. We're used to having our food just growing naturally and used to having our basic needs met. We wasn't warring over, you know, the type of stuff the stuff that we see now. I can understand us not really understanding the concept of people that they have no regard for life, you know, coming and overtaking you to a degree, be off-center. You might be a warrior and not ready to fight at that time because you didn't see that coming at you. Didn't see that lick coming at you, right?
Uh-huh.
So, you know, going all the way back to the first level of colonization with the Arabs, you know, you could see a person being off-centered, and then again the Europeans came in and they came in with their level of colonization again to Africa, and then they went about pillaging Africa and looting Africa basically for Americas and taking over this land and destroying the people that was already here. And so now you've gotten to see a picture of what you're really dealing with. So that means to me, if you're paying attention to the history of what has already happened, what has been happening, and what is still happening today, you realize you cannot reason with these people. And I see folks wanting so badly to try to figure out how do we coexist with these people. And that's the wrong focus. It's the wrong focus. You may have some quote-unquote good white people somewhere. All I'm saying is that's not your focus right now. You know there's a battle now. We can't fool you and tell you you're not in battle now. Now, if you don't choose to see that you're in war right now, then that's your willful ignorance. But we're in war. This is a war. Okay? So
Right.
you're going to have to understand that in a war, you can't just lay your weapon down and peacefully beg your enemy to have mercy on you and give you what you want. You're going to have to take back what you want. You're going to have to fight for what you want. You're going to have to put yourself in a position to sacrifice for what you want. You know, I remember back when Colin Kaepernick first took the knee, against police brutality.
Okay.
And all we asked for the brothers is to stop watching the damn football game, and y'all couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What kind of, that's a sacrifice that's not taking nothing, no food off your plate. That's a sacrifice that's not laying your life down. That's a sacrifice. All we ask you to do is on Monday night, turn that damn TV off. Turn the channel. And you can't do that? Come on now. You got to sacrifice something. Freedom ain't free. It costs something. And you got to make a determination, right, people. What is this? Okay, this going to cost me something. What am I willing to pay this time? Because we're not going to slide into this revolution easily. We're going to have to make some sacrifices. Figure out now where you stand with this and what you're going to sacrifice and what hill you're willing to die on. That's where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what, sister? You're absolutely correct. And I looked at the football situation a long time ago. I played football in school, but I have a spiritual side just like everybody else have. And I got 2 flat screen TVs here in my home, but I got real dark, thick towels draped over the TV. So because I don't look at TV. And even when the TV is off, I can't see the TV. I see the towels. And but the way I look at this thing is this way. And I remember when that happened, they say we're going to have a black eye. And I said right then to myself, I said, okay, you're going to have a problem because the brothers ain't going to go for it. You got a man, this man has a wife or a girlfriend or a woman, and he wants to look at the game. She goes in, she gonna cook him, make him up some popcorn, maybe make him some hot dogs or whatever he want while he sits there and watch the game. And there's another man with a football in his hand running down the field. And he jumps up and he was, run, and he's jumping and shouting, and he's standing up in the living room, and here come his girlfriend and his wife to bring some popcorn. And she walks in front of the TV and sat down on the table. And he, get out the way. You in front of the TV. Now, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that your woman coming to bring you something so you can enjoy the game, and because she's standing in front of the TV, you want her to get out the way so you can see another man? Now, you to me, that he's suspect. Doing something like that. Well, we don't think. See, we think that, and they tell you right there on the TV, you are being programmed. Welcome to Nice Broadcasting, our programming, and they're programming you. You're being indoctrinated. Absolutely. The mind can pick up things that the eyes can't see. Subliminal messages and stuff is going behind everything that comes on the TV. It's being recorded by the brain. It's telling you you're dumb, you're stupid, you're no good, you're a nigger. All of this right here is being presented to you, and you're watching the TV, but you can't see this with your naked eye, but it's being recorded by your brain. That's what's going on. They called Coca-Cola Adept a while back. They had this broadcast on. It was a movie, and then every once in a while, a little flicker will come. And they was trying to figure out, well, what is that? But the flicker was saying, drink Coca-Cola. And they slowed it down and enhanced it and all that until they found out what Coca-Cola was doing. And they sued Coca-Cola for that. But they didn't throw away that technology. They kept that technology, and it's to the point now, you watch a movie, and then you got an attitude. You and your woman sitting there, y'all watching a movie together. Next thing you know, y'all in an argument about something because you've been indoctrinated by this idiot box. And me personally, the only time I'll look at it if I got guests or something like that. But I make sure that I'm dealing with somebody with a strong constitution and a strong mind. But outside of that, I don't look at it unless I'm on it. Now, if I'm on it, I'll take the towels from off of it. I'll cut it on and, and look at it and stuff like that. But outside of that, I believe in reading, writing, and arithmetic. And I'll listen. You got the same thing going on with the radio as well. So you want to limit that. And the same thing goes on with the computer. We're being assaulted from every conceivable angle.
Every
kind of
angle.
And as far as the solutions, I remember one time we have a place down here called the Blogic Home. And it was an all Moorish Egyptian complex. The people that most people call black people. However, we had this cop, and anytime there's a domestic disturbance or something, somebody called the police, here he comes. He's coming in and he's going to beat up the man, or if it's a woman, he's going to beat her up, handcuff him, and put him in the car, and all this business. This went on and on and on. But one day, a phone call came into the police department. We have a domestic disturbance right over here at this particular apartment. Here he comes. But this time, when he got out the car, his head exploded from a high-powered rifle from several blocks away. It hit him so hard it knocked him over the hood of the car, and his shoe came off his foot.
Oh, my goodness.
Needless to say, there was peace in the valley. I haven't seen it in a long time, but the other day I was on the computer, and they told me that there was a van parked. Here come the po-po. I think it was the chief of police who was with him, or captain or somebody. There were several of them. All of a sudden, gunfire came out. They were bushwhacked, ambushed. They killed him and shot the other ones. And I bring these points out because these are things that has actually occurred. Because the cop that they shot over there at the Bloody home, he was a real bad dude, man. But he was stopped. So we got 52 states in America.
Right.
And we got brothers and sisters in all 52 states. We're at war, and it's a matter of survival. We have to do what we have to do in this country. Now, sisters, me personally, I consider myself a different type of animal. I love peace. I love it. I love it. I love peace. I hate war. I hate it, but doggone it, I'm good at it. And I try to avoid it at every possible, at every conceivable angle. I don't believe in no marching down the street, protesting, and singing those songs about we shall overcome and all this here business. We need to call the police to report about this, that, and the other. I don't deal with none of that kind of business. I wasn't raised that way. I wasn't trained that way. I always ask one question: who done it, and where he at? That's it. Nothing else. You don't have to waste your time telling me nothing about the court. I don't want to hear nothing about a lawyer. I don't want to hear nothing about it. We need to do an investigation. None of that. I don't hear none of that. None of that kind of business. And I believe that when you take control of your own consciousness, and you realize where you at, who you are, and what's being done to you as a nation of people, you change your mind. I mean, how much depression is going to have to happen before you change your mind and realize, hey, I need to practice. I need to go to the gun range. I need to go in the woods and do a little target practice. How well do I throw a knife? Does it stick every time? Instead of watching the football game, go to the gun range. Give you a little practice, so you feel good about yourself. You never know when you might have to go in the woods and kill an animal to feed your family. You never know. But if you don't have any skills, you don't go fishing, you don't know how to fish, you don't know how to hunt, you don't know how to trap. These are some of the things that we, as a people, in my personal opinion, that we need to make a priority in our lives. So you don't have all these fears and all this stuff. Somebody shoot your child down the street, do some physical harm to your child, hurt your brother, or kill your family member, and you downtown. I'm down here looking for answers. No, I don't see it that way. When I come through the door, the answer just walked in the building. That's the way I see it. So we got to change our thinking, and we should replace fear with skill and training and confidence. These are some of the things that we should do. We should learn everything it is that we need to know about our body. How do our body function? How many bones in your body? What about your electrical system? What about your nervous system? What about your circulatory system? How does your brain work? Well, we get this information down, and then what about your environment? What about your community? What's in your community? What are you doing? Your communication skills, your training skills. How well do you fire at a range? These are things that we should practice in order to survive. These are survival skills. Everybody on this planet is trying to survive, and only the strong survive. So if you are skilled and you're trained, you're in a good position to survive. Now, I have a few more questions for you, but I'm going to take one more little quick break. Hold on a minute here. All right, we'll be right back. Y'all hold on a minute.
So it means each and every white person that you talk to, their priority has to be, look, let's wrap up this whole thing about racism once and for all, and let's do it in the next 15 minutes. Because that's all it would really take. I keep saying that like that's just some type of general metaphor or some type of cliche that I'm coming up with. No, I'm saying this can be done in 15 minutes. If we would just get to the core of having everybody say how they feel about everything as far as what they are going to do, not just how they feel. We have been there. Everybody's expressed how they feel. Well, I feel that black people, are just not meeting their responsibilities. Well, see, everything is about questions and answers. So when somebody makes a statement like that, well, you black people are not living up to your responsibilities, then you have a question on the board. Okay, wait a minute. Hold it right there. We're not meeting our responsibilities. The question is, what is our responsibility? Well, you should pay more attention to how you raise your children. By doing what? Well, try to raise them in the right way. Right way by doing what? See, you haven't got to the doing part yet. Well, show them to be good citizens and whatnot. You're using cliches, sir. Good citizens by doing what? See, it always comes down to that one word made of two letters, do. Well, teach them not to rob and steal from the delicatessen down there on the corner drugstore. and put that man out of business, even though he's black too, or he's Arab and you don't like him and all like that. Teach them not to be more responsible and don't go down there and do that. And teach them to get a job rather than rob and steal and whatnot. Get a job doing what? Well, go to school and get an education so you qualify to get a job. Go to what school and get what education? Where? And where's the finance coming from to go to the school, sir? Are you going to put the finance up? Everything comes from you. You're doing all this talking. Everything comes from you. We are your children. Illegitimate children, of course. But when you say raise your children, we are your children. You took us over. That makes us childlike, boys and girls, which is what you call us. See, this is the way we should be talking at a table. See, it always comes back to the white supremacists because that's what supreme means. Every complaint that the white supremacists make about black people, you say, whatever you're complaining about, me, comes from you. I am your product. You're complaining about what you have produced, sir. You say that, I'm stupid, I'm ignorant, I don't know how to do anything constructive. Well, who has been my teacher other than you? Well, I try to teach you, but you people are just inferior. Now we're getting to it. Oh, I'm inferior, meaning what? Meaning no matter how I try to teach you or what I try to do with you people, you're just born inferior. I mean, it's just that way. For some reason, you just can't learn. You don't know how to do anything. Everything that you touch turns to a great big mess. If I'm not around here to hold your hand and walk you through everything just turns to nothing. Oh, in other words, I'm completely incapable of ever doing anything constructive. Boy, you got it. You got it. And I just tolerate you because I'm here on the planet with you, and I try to be compassionate, but I really can't do anything with you people because you are inferior by nature. You just can't do it. You can't cut it. Your mind doesn't work that way. All you're good for is just getting in the way of messing up everything that anybody else tries to accomplish. That's all you're good for. All right. That's your conclusion, sir? Yes, that's my conclusion. Okay. Now, we're still stuck with that one thing, aren't we? Well, what's that? The doing part. What do you do with people who are absolutely inferior? Now, let's wrap this up in about 5 minutes now, because we're getting toward the end, sir.
Okay, we're back. Sister, you still with me?
I'm here.
Okay. Well, I know you told me that you was going to do an hour and a half, and we're at that point now. But if you want to continue, you can. But if not, then I'll go ahead and take over and roll on out with the rest of the broadcast. We're going to take it and convert it into a video, and we're going to throw it up and post it on the other places that we have.
Okay. I'll roll a little while longer. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, now my question to you is because when George Floyd was murdered, the first thing that came across from the media is manslaughter. And they was trying to hold the line on manslaughter, and then they had to bump it up to a second-degree murder. Okay. And but I haven't heard anything yet about first-degree murder.
Mm-hmm.
So now, being in the military, and you told us about the training and stuff that you had, in your opinion, what degree is this thing? What is it? First, second, third?
I think everybody knows. We already know this is a first-degree murder. I think that the thing that The thing that we're trying to get now is the ability to prove, I guess, first-degree murder, but everybody see that was point blank. I mean, there's no denying that was murder. That's not a mistake. That wasn't something that he just happened to, lose him in custody of him because he just made a mistake. No, that was 8 minutes of video showing him slowly taking the life of this man. So that's clear-cut murder to me.
And we had several other officers standing by watching this man being murdered in the first degree.
Mm-hmm.
So what you think they should be charged with?
Well, they're definitely aided and abetted. So whatever time that they could get for being accomplices to this murder, I would say, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know the technical terms of it all, but whatever punishment that this man gets, they definitely need their just due time as well, because they definitely aided and abetted the situation at hand. And at any given time, one of those officers could have pulled their fellow officer off of that man's neck. They could have tried to reason with the man that was kneeling on his neck. They could have done something other than stand around. Well, one was standing around holding the crowd back. The other one's actually helped to pin him down. So, yeah, they definitely aided and abetted the whole situation, and they definitely need to serve time as well.
Okay. In my personal opinion, I think all of them should be charged with first-degree murder. And my second opinion, this man had 2 or 3 brothers, and I see them on the media talking about their brother.
Mm-hmm.
To me, where I was coming from, and the brothers that I was raised up with, we've never done nothing like that. Because the question would be, okay, who done it, and where he at?
Mm-hmm.
Where's his wife? Where their wives at? Where their children at? Where do they live? What school does the children go to? We want to know everything about them because we don't have time to be talking about nothing. We just want to know where he at. Well, they took him to a maximum security prison, and they hold him in a maximum security prison. What prison and where it's at?
Mm-hmm.
Which one? Where it at? That's the way I see it. We had a brother that was raised up with us. We used to all play football together and throw rocks together, all kind of stuff. Stuff that young boys do. We was in junior high school, and time for us to go to high school. And this boy here, he lived across the street from a cousin's house, and his father and his mother, they got a divorce, and he stayed there with his mother, and his father went on, and later he passed away. But she raised him. Sometimes she getting tough and needed money and stuff, and my uncle would say, well, anytime you need anything, you let me know, and I'll take care for you. I'll help you out. She come on, she get money for food, and sometimes she needed to pay a bill and stuff, and we looked out for us because all of us, we can consider all of us as brothers. It was a lot of us, all boys. Had us a little motorcycle gang and all that. But this brother here, he goes off to the police academy and he become a police officer. And when he comes out, he's got on his uniform, his badge, got his gun and all of that. He comes over to the house, him and a little white officer had with him, and knocked on the door, and he come in there, and, man, we were glad to see him. Man, boy, you looking sharp. Man. What's happening, man? Well, I'm here on official business. You on official business? Yes, I need to talk to your daddy on official business. And my cousin said, well, hold on, man. Anything that you got to say to my daddy, you say it to all of us. And he was like, well, look, I'm an officer of the law, and like I said, I got to talk to your dad. And my cousin said, hey, man, we ain't having that, man. Why you gonna come over here with that kind of mess? Well, look, we can settle this outside, you and I. So my cousin said, hey, man, you ain't nothing between us but air. Come on, let's go. And they get outside. He takes off his gun belt and put on the car, and him and my cousin, they tie up out there. Cousin knocked the badge off his chest. And the little white boy, he seen him losing the fight, and he on the side of the car, he done took and put his hand up on his gun. And that boy seen him. He said, hey, take your hand off that gun, because she ain't going to shoot you. Because my uncle standing in the door with a 12-gauge shotgun watching that white boy. He pulled that gun out, he'd blow his head clean off, because I know him. But anyway, his mama come out the door and standing in front of the house, standing on the ditch, begging and pleading with him to stop fighting. So my cousin was waxing him out there. Boy, he had dirt everywhere. And he went around and got on top of him. My uncle come out there and said, all right now, that's enough. He down, but he's still swinging. His mama, she was screaming, he gonna kill him. You got to stop him, he gonna kill him. So we went out there, me and the rest of them, and pulled him up off of him and got off of him. And he got up, finally, and walked over there and got in the car, got a little gun belt, opened the car and put it in on the front seat and got in the front seat. The white boy got in there on the other side. They backed up and went on about their business, and that was the end of that. When none of this business about, well, we going to send some more cops around there to do an investigation. No, you ain't. Because all of us around there, it'd have been a big old mess. Would have been on world news. But that was the end. There was no nothing about that. But today, I don't understand these people today. They just let stuff happen, and they've been programmed to go along with stuff, and don't, unless somebody, when you have a police officer shoot your child down, and then you go down there, which is he's the wolf. Well, you're going to go downtown and complain to the fox about a wolf? Hey, I mean, we ain't thinking. So when you are skilled and trained and stuff, you don't have to walk around in fear about this kind of business, because you ain't trying to start nothing, and just because you got a gun, you ain't got to kill nobody. But you're simply not fearful because you have confidence in yourself based on your own skills and your own training. So I guess a lot of people consider me to be outdated, a dinosaur or whatever, but I just simply don't come from the world that a lot of these people are coming to, because I've seen the same thing over and over and over all my life, man to man, But this stuff now, they got stuff they program you on TV about the thing with the bad boy, and the gang of polices and coming in and all that, and you hollering and screaming and and all this old mess here, and they beat you up, and then they riding around giggling and laughing about it and all this right here. Well, I personally feel like today that these kids today cut out from a different type of cloth. Because yesterday it wasn't like that. They had used to have one light on top of car with red. And you was talking about energy and light and stuff, but color plays a very, very important part. What they have now is they have multiple color of lights on the cars. So when they pull up, all of these different colors of lights are flashing. That is designed to confuse you and have you confused as soon as they arrive. Now, when you put on the color of red and black, that is the color of war. When you put on all black, that is the most powerful color in the spectrum, and that denotes that you are presenting yourself as the ultimate authority and power. When you put on the color of pink, now we're talking about the lesser power, non-confrontational, non-violent, tranquil, peaceful, delicate, all of that. Colors play a very important part in our life, and there's a lot of things that we don't pay attention to. There was a book that came out back in the 70s written by a man named John T. Malloy, and it was called Dress for Success by John T. Malloy. And in this book, he gives the definition of colors, which we have been put that information out a long, long time ago before he ever wrote the book. But colors play a very important part. It's also a part of the spiritual side and the along with the different stones and energies and stuff that you're talking about, because it does have energy, and it makes a statement. If you watch the different colors and stuff that people are wearing in movies, if you see the President of the United States come out, if you see walk in a courtroom, you see a judge and all this right here, but you discover that a lot of these people that's wearing certain colors, they don't live up to the colors that they're wearing. They don't.
Right.
In my opinion, they don't have the intestinal fortitude, because I was in a theater one time, and I remember my son had got in some trouble, and he went before this judge, and the judge didn't want to hear nothing. He didn't want to throw the book at him. You know, he's just a juvenile and stuff. But I never forgot that, because I didn't like how the judge did this here. You know, a white man, he got on all black up there. He was, you know, this, that, and the other. But one day in this theater, I had to go and try to find the bathroom. And I went behind the stage. And lo and behold, the same judge came out. He bent the corner around where the bathroom was. And I see him, I remember. I said, you are Judge so-and-so and so-and-so. I said, you the one that mistreated my son inside your courtroom. That white man struck out running. He was screaming, help, 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 help. He shot me because but I said, wait a minute. You was in the courtroom with all that black on, man. You supposed to be ready to let's start thumping. Let's rock and roll back here, man. We had knocked down a few props and probably tear open a few walls, but you know, he was running, man, and screaming, help me. Lord, somebody help me. I said, what the hell is this? But anyway, 'cause we had a whole bunch of police out there. I said, let me go around here and go out through the little exit here and come back in there in front. And they had him in there, man. Had him in a corner. He was surrounded by people. He was trying to explain about this awful Negro that he had ran into behind the curtain back there. Well, anyway, the sister, the 5G technology now, because I took and I downloaded the app to my phone, and I come in the living room and I aim my phone at the computer, and the numbers went up, and I went in there and aimed it at my stereo, and the numbers was okay. But when I aimed it at the speakers, it was okay. But I got these boomers attached to my stereo with the big woofers on. But when I aimed the phone at this right here, the numbers went to skyrocketing. I said, okay, so y'all got the technology down up in there. So I went out where the towers at out there and aimed it up at the towers and stuff, and the numbers started skyrocketing. It was going off the Richter scale and stuff. And it might be a good idea if y'all, those who have your cell phones and stuff, you can download the app. It's a radiation detector, and you can aim it at different appliances and stuff in your environment to see how much radiation is coming off of this stuff. And I don't use a microwave. I've been got rid of that. I use a regular toaster oven, or I'll use my gas oven for whatever I want to cook, because I got rid of that thing. But tell me, what's your take on this 5G technology and stuff?
I think that it's poison, and the radiation is causing people to actually get those things that they call comorbidities, like diabetes and disease and heart palpitations and things like that, because the frequency of those short waves is causing the blood sugar to amp up in the body. It's causing the blood sugar to respond as if you have diabetes. It actually pushes you over the edge into those illnesses. So I think I told the public about how I saw it amp up, with China, because it was, even though we were using this 5G technology in the military, and we've had it a long time, but it wasn't. We don't have the type, the speed. We don't have the accuracy. We don't have the type of 5G that China was able to push out with Huawei. So, like I was saying, in 2015. Google decided to take the Chinese game called Go and see if they could devise all the various plans to win this particular Chinese game. And the Chinese had their best of the best of the best of the Go players to go up against this machine. And in this particular situation, the machine was able to devise plays on this player that had never been played before. And when that happened, the machine won against their best of the best of the best. So China, being a shame culture and a collective culture, unlike the West where we are individualistic, they saw this as a public loss. And so they went to work on 5G and amped it up 10 times better than anything we have. And so the showdown between the Americas and the American population and China population is the fact that whoever has the most powerful 5G network and whoever has the reign on this thing gets to have worldwide surveillance on the population in a way that, puts you as a front runner for this new world order. And so because this agenda to control population is such a monumental thing at the forefront of it all of the health issues that are coming down the pike, they could care less about as long as they get the kind of, because when you have this type of network, you have governmental surveillance on every country. You have this is bigger. This is bigger than just you and your little electronics in your house. So this is worldwide surveillance. So we're just a byproduct. I mean, I guess the things that we get is just a byproduct of what they're actually trying to do. So I think that what I have to tell the public is you need to be mindful that these waves are coming against you, and then you have to be very, very mindful about how much time you spend around them and in them. We are addicted. I think there was a study that was done that talked about the level of addiction with video games and things like that because of the way technology is set up. Facebook is even set up to make you become addicted. These things that, all of these algorithms that program your brain to look for the likes. How many likes do I have? That is set up to keep you addicted and programmed on your system and keep you giving them information, keep you in a position where they can monitor you. So it takes practice to make sure that you be mindful to pull yourself off of your electronics on a regular basis. Regular basis to get away from this radiation. Sometimes I talk about going back into Mother Nature, connecting yourself back to the resonance of Mother Nature, resyncing your body back up to the ground, doing some earthing, taking your shoes off, putting your feet on the ground, hugging a tree, planting a garden, putting your fingers in the dirt, just putting yourself back in a place where you synchronize yourself back up with your natural rhythm, because these waves are coming at your system 24/7. And for my youth, my and I shouldn't even say my youth, because I see older people doing this stupid stuff too. Remember back when the iPhones first came out, you would see people wrapped around the building, waiting in line to get the newest technology.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This, everything that is new is not good, okay? So every new shiny gadget that comes out that they dangle in front of your face is not always a good thing. If you have technology that's still working for you and you can utilize that technology, stop being so eager to hurry up and get the newest gadget. This is how they keep you hooked in and roped in to constantly sell you more and more and more. I need more speed. I need more this. I need more that. If you weren't buying into it, it would be harder to push the things on you that they're pushing on to you. So
exactly.
This whole consumerism mentality where we always got to buy the newest thing, the newest gadget, whatever, take some time away from all of that stuff. If you're not using this for work, if you're not using this for educational purposes, if it's simply for your leisure all the time being on it, pull yourself off of it. Read a book. Learn how to make something. And I also say this, too. I really believe in COVID 2.0 when they come back again with phase 2 of this thing. This grid is going to go down. So everybody that's nice and comfortable and confident about how you make your money online, you better start thinking again. You need to learn how to figure out how to operate when the grid goes down on you. What can you make? What can you barter? What can you sell? What services can you provide? What can you do outside of these electronics that will help you to survive when the grid goes down on you and you can't rely on this system to survive anymore?
Mm-hmm.
We talk about, everything to kind of sum it up, because I know my time is wrapping up right now. Just to kind of sum it up right now, too, for me, what I want to say about this whole thing is, you know how kids get a certain age, the teenagers get a certain age, and they want their independence, and they get little rambunctious with their parents, and they start pushing to show that, I want out of this house and whatever. Well, that comes with a cost. Because you want out, But mom and dad has been clothing you. Mom and dad has been sheltering you. Mom and dad has been feeding you. Mom and dad has been taking care of you. And now you want out. Well, that means you got to pay your own bills. You got to stand on your own 2 feet. You got to get a job. You got to whatever. There's certain things that go along with your independence. As I say that about young people, I'm saying that about us as we go through with this revolution. We have been so conditioned because of slavery, because of the way we have been broken down, because of the way things have been stolen from us and taken from us to know who we are. Most of us can never retrace our lineage back to our village in Africa. We don't know who and where we come from, what our language is many times. We don't know who we are other than what these people gave us to know about ourselves in many, many cases. So there are people that are waking up, and I'm grateful. There are people waking up. There are people that are beginning to understand and learn. The system was set up to keep you docile, complacent, and dependent on the system for everything. And if we really, truly want revolution, if we really, truly want things to change, if we really, truly want to see ourselves free, then that freedom comes with a cost. It means that the matrix as we know it may have to come down, and the way we have survived on this matrix will probably be lost. We can rebuild again. We can find our independence. And so we're not helpless and we're not hopeless, but it's just getting your mindset ready for the fact that mom and dad or this white supremacist matrix is not going to support you as you push and buck against it for your freedom. If you want the freedom that you say you want, if we want the revolution that we say we want, it's going to come with a cost. It's going to come with us growing up, becoming independent, and making our own way in this world and recreating and establishing ourselves as the kings, queens that we already are. We just have to be acquainted with who we are once again. Thank you, Brother Tarhaka, for allowing me to be on your show. Before I go, I want to tell the family, please go to YouTube, subscribe to Courage to Change. Courage to Change is a channel I created specifically for those who are dealing with recovery issues, that are learning to use recovery as a means of healing their innermost self so that they can stand up on their own 2 feet, so that you can be your highest and greatest self. So, these types of things don't happen overnight. Healing doesn't happen overnight. I realize that all of it is transformation. The moment we're in is transformation. And when you go into a healing space, that is also a personal and intimate transformation, and we need all of it. We need you to transform internally so that you can stand up and be productive externally with the movement that is happening around you. So go to Courage to Change, click on that, subscribe, start watching those videos. I have tools and information there to help you for that. Also, I have another channel called The Alchemist, Nicola, where I just basically talk about world events, spiritual things, whatever you want to tap into. So you can also find me on there. And also, most importantly, go to nhalchemy.com for any of the things that I talk about to protect you against this radiation. You can find it on my on my website. And if you need help getting through some of that hard stuff that you may have gone through as a child, if you grew up with alcoholism in your midst and you are scarred by some of those things, I'm there to help coach you through that. So, and right now I'm running a special 50% off on all coaching. So, nhalchemy.com, subscribe there. And you want to subscribe there as well, too, because there's some things I'm going to be putting out that's going to be exclusive to my subscribers that won't be on YouTube, because we got to talk black, and I can't always do it the way I want to do it on that platform. So go to nhalchemy.com and subscribe. Thank you, Brother Tarhaka.
All right, Sister Nicola, I certainly appreciate you being here, and we're going to have to do this again. I hope you was comfortable here doing this broadcast, and I'm definitely going to go over there to Courage. Let me look at this here again. Courage to Change on YouTube. Yeah, I'm going over there and check that out, and of course, all of your links and stuff will be posted. But anyway, I thank you for being here, and I'm going to go ahead and continue because we're going to have an hour, and I'll go and finish my ranting and
Okay.
do what I got to do. But thank you, sister, and good night.
Thank you, my brother. Peace and blessings.
Something is worrying me, yeah. And that something is driving me in misery. Oh, I can tell the way things change that you've been loving some other man. That's why something keeps on worrying me. Yes, it is. That's why something worrying me. Oh, I can tell by the look in your eyes. I can tell by the way you smile. I know things haven't been this way. I try to love you each and every day, and that's something keeps on worrying me. Yeah, that's why something is driving me in misery. Yeah. I can tell by the look in your eyes that you've been loving some other guy. That's why something keeps on worrying me. Oh, yes, it is. That's why something keeps on worrying me. Oh, that's something, baby, deep down in my heart. It's worrying me, baby. I know you love somebody. I know you have somebody here. It's worrying me, baby. I need you right here.
All right, everybody, we're back. I still got a caller with my hand raised, with the hand raised. Don't forget, Nicola M. Hurst over on Courage to Change on YouTube. Y'all want to get over there and check that out. NHAlchemy.com, www.NHAlchemy.com. And she's over on Twitter, and she's on Google. So don't forget to check her website. I just click on the links and stuff that we have posted on the ad for this show. It's over there on Facebook. It's over on your social media, other social media network. We're going to be converting this video and posting it on YouTube as well. Area code 314. Tell us who you are, where you're calling from, what's your
Hey,
question.
Tarhaka, what's going on, son? How you doing?
What's going on, P? Hey, what's happening, man?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine, son.
You welcome, Daddy, yo.
Hey,
Man,
did you know
what
Conrad
is your take
passed
on
away?
all this business going on in America today, man? What's happening?
Yeah, before I go, did you know that Conrad passed away? Conrad Worrell, old leader of the National Black United Front. You probably didn't know it.
No, I didn't catch that one. Oh, yes, I
Yeah,
did.
he
Yes, I
passed.
did. Look at the article, but I didn't get a chance to read about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he going on now, so they're standing out at the top.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah, we gotta leave this thing. Well, what's going on, man? What do you think about all this protesting?
I'm gonna tell you, Tark, this is a bunch of mess, and there's something going on with that stuff with Florida. I think Florida was a hit, and you look at the Spanish cartel and mafia that's involved in Minneapolis, the little Mogadishu, and Chauvin and Floyd knew each other. I think Floyd was he was marrying a white woman, and he might have had some relationship with Chauvin's sister. But the funny thing, the man tried to pass two phony counterfeit bills. and one, the ink was running on. So you can look at that and see something wrong. You know, money don't, the numbers don't wash out the money when it's in the rain.
That's
and
right.
I'm thinking maybe that Tifa might be using counterfeit money to fund their operations here. And there was a guy that was done undercover with Tifa. He was talking about they was meeting in a meeting in a building where it was highly insulated. They had machines that were generating white noise so that, you know, satellites couldn't listen in, and they was doing slides on procedures, like gouging your eyes out. The telephones are encrypted. The emails are encrypted. So something was going on with this. It ain't got nothing to do with race. It ain't got nothing to do with race. And the lady that's running for, the woman was running for Congress for Omar's position. She was an attorney, and she wouldn't prosecute the police officer on some past infraction. Okay. Then you look at Keith Ellis. Yeah. You look at Keith Ellis, who was the state attorney. He moved up and took over the case. And people had been on him for being easy on some of them cartel members. And then he raised the charge from third degree to second degree, which is almost impossible. Well, it ain't almost impossible. It's hard to prove, because in Minnesota you got to have a unanimous decision on guilty or not guilty.
Okay.
Yeah. Then he was in adult films with a company called Habit, and I'm not too sure what it's HABIB, I believe it is. They do a lot of black films. Well, they use a lot of black actors in their adult films. And somebody need to do some tracing on Habit and see what the heck's going on with them. So something's going on there. Now, at the same time, the stuff going on in the streets, blacks didn't want to be tearing down those buildings and businesses in their community initially. You remember that? Where you had this white guy. Yeah, the kids. And they showed a lot of videos where blacks had stopped these whites from busting out windows. I seen one where this white kid was trying to bust out a window with his skateboard, and a black young man came up behind him and snatched the skateboard. You should have smacked him across the head with it. Then you got police standing down. Why is police standing down? So it's something. It's a lot of things going on here, Tarhaka. And I think blacks are being used again.
Well, we just got to talking about that, me and our sister Hurst, and I remember I did an investigation on the border wall thing, and come to find out, the media is broadcasting to us that these people are walking up from South America, headed to America, 500 miles, barefooted, and in flip-flops. That's impossible. And then come to find out, they had tractor trailers, they had buses, and all kind of stuff. These people got on makeup, got on lipstick, and then the camera crew right out there filming them. Then they got certain people that's acting in front of the cameras, and then they got to go back and do it again, just like in a movie or whatever. And but then come to find out, the whole thing is being funded by George Soros, because they mess around and some kind of way the money got laid or the money didn't come, and these people have already been hired to do what they're supposed to do, and they start protesting. Soros, where's our money? Soros, where's our money? And Donald Trump is up there building the wall, and all of this here big epic film production that's bought and paid for, and we sitting here hoping that these people don't come in here and get our job, and these people making more money than we making out there protesting, threatening to act like they come across the border, and all this kind of business is going on. we got the same identical thing happening in Minnesota and across the United States, where we don't see no more brothers and sisters out there protesting about Floyd. We see all of these white folks with the masks and stuff on and busting out windows, and overnight you got whole pallet loads of bricks being strategically placed in areas to be used to bust out the window. Okay, who paid for that?
They found a truck. They found a truck full of baseball bats,
yeah.
and they got dynamite, using dynamite to blow ATMs off the wall down here in near New Orleans. I think it was Lafayette. I'm not sure. They ran across some suspicious-looking bags. I think they might have found some explosives in them. So it's something going on. And we know these Democrats is probably behind it because they hate Trump. Well, a lot of people hate him because he's changing stuff.
Right. They want to stick to the status quo. But I don't make any statements against Donald Trump. In my personal opinion, he ain't stupid. And
no, he's not stupid.
There's a lot of things he can't say.
Did you know that undocumented are using the I-10 number to get home mortgages? Just
undocumented use of the I-10 number to get home mortgages.
Yes, yeah, you go Google it, you'll see. And see, they're not even supposed to be working. They use the I-10 number because they can't get a Social Security number because they're not here legally. Then when they get the home mortgage and they sign the papers on closing, like everybody do, they take the paper and go to the voters registration. They register to vote. Now they voting, and they're not even U.S. citizens.
Well,
plus get a credit card.
I was looking online today, and I seen where Donald Trump is signing a thing that says if you married, you American citizen and you married to an immigrant, you won't get no stimulus check.
Yeah, you're right. But then on the other hand, look at out there in California, they're giving illegals $500. How silly is that? I don't know if it went through, but that's what they're talking about. Yeah.
No,
so some things going. This country don't went to the pot, man. This country this is some crazy stuff, and I always have knew that there's people trying to destroy the fabric of the United States. They really are. And see, blacks got too much to lose. You got blacks who done went to school doing the right thing, and here these fools talking about tearing the country down. You know, can't let no stuff like that happen. I care how. I mean, it may not be the 25th. May not be the 25th dynasty, but damn, I think it's probably the best thing going on right now. What was you saying?
The thing is, how do we reach these people and get them to understand that, hey, something is wrong. It's not the usual wrong. This is something totally different because nothing like this has ever occurred before, and it's time for us to get ready as a nation in order to survive this stuff. And
well, you know, I'm gonna tell you, Tarhaka, it is so. These young people didn't get educated, and it's not their fault. It's them dang on. It's black society in the schools. Blacks don't demand and put things in the school to educate their young people into the things that's of high demand. They let somebody else do it. And I've been dealing with things that has to do with the education of African American kids for a long time, and I came to that conclusion that these people don't want this. It ain't the children. And see, I'm not talking about just teaching the history. I'm talking about teaching the math, the science, and all those things so that they are prepared when they go to college. When they hit college, they get jumped on with the rigors that college demand, and they're not ready for it. I mean, it's sad they ain't ready for it. And it's not that they can't do it, but you don't know if they can't do it. Heck, they have football combines. They bring out 500 kids and have them running, jumping, throwing, and other things to see what 10 is going to make it.
Now, this is what they're doing in high school or in college?
That's what they do in high school. That's what they do going into high school. I mean, that's what they do going into high school. And then if they get drafted to go to college, see, now this year it's going to be messed up. They ain't going to have no high school sport. Either probably not basketball or no football. Well, if you don't have that, you ain't going to have students signing to go into college. If you don't have students that's in college that can be drafted to go into the pros. And I think we spend too much time with young people in these sports. Just the two sports, basketball and football. So if you're going to be an athlete, look at the other sports. They pay scholarships also.
Well, I think that has to do something with the fame and fortune, you know. They want to be seen. They want to be noticed. They got this dream in their head that I want to be a star. I want to be a Michael Jordan. I want to be a LeBron James. I want to be an Abdul-Jabbar. And I want to do this right here. But we ain't got no football and no basketball on TV. So
well, we need to have young people going into these STEM fields because those are the ones that's demanded, and they hiring black STEM graduates by the hundreds. I've witnessed it, and we need more because what's happening is you're bringing these foreigners in. Now, Donald Trump said that these foreigners that's here working in these jobs, and they come in, Indians, and they come in because back home they train for these high profession jobs. He said, when your visa expires, you got to go because we're going to replace you with Americans. And that's a good thing. We just got to prepare our young people for those professions. And if they're not qualified for them, you know, just like I said, you know, I was coming up, we was tracked into technical high schools. And the same methods that was used to determine whether we're going to be an electrician, an auto mechanic, or aero mechanic, those methods can be used today to see what kind of inner ability these young kids have, then start putting them in programs that's going to increase those skills with rigorous work. And I think it would be a whole lot better.
Yeah, but that's when the problem going to come in because these young kids today, they don't want to do anything physical, man. They don't.
I think you got to start them off young at about the third grade, Tarhaka. So you know what that means, don't you? A lot of them going to be lost.
Yeah, because what I'm seeing today, man, you mentioned, because I had a gym, man. I went and spent over $3,500 buying nothing but the same type of weightlifting equipment and machines and stuff that I was raised up on 15 years ago and took my garage and turned it into a gym. And it was going to be a community gym. It's for me and my brothers and their friends because all of the guys that grew up with me, all them boys there, they about dead. They over the hill and stuff. But I say I'll build this gym and I'll put this equipment in here. And I would open the doors every morning and stuff, and every once in a while the fellas come on, my group come by, they want to sit outside the gym in a chair and watch. They ain't finna lift nothing. But the police came over there one day, and he asked me, white guy, he said, is any of the young guys come around here trying to work out? I said, now one up. And when they walk by in front of the gym and they look straight ahead, they don't even want to look over there. They didn't want to do anything physical to try to get in shape. It would break my heart sometimes, man, because I was like, wow, man, and I can't believe all of y'all and nobody don't want to do nothing. I'm out here almost approaching 60-something years old. And I'm out here pumping iron and working the machine and showing you how it's done and all of that there. And you coming by, you don't even want to come over there and ask them to work out. I had a couple of them that come in there and we sent them through the motion one good time. I ain't seen them no more.
Yeah.
So I
know what you mean, though.
eventually retired, and I closed the gym down. And my nephews, my brother's sons, they said they're going to open up a gym out on the west side. I said, I tell you what, go get a truck and bring it up here. I'm going to take everything out of here and put it on this truck, and y'all carry it on with you. And that's what they did. I emptied the whole gym, took the sign down, and I'm retired. And here comes the jitterbug. After they show things gone, man, you don't close down the gym? Man, I want it, man. I was going to come around here. I said, yeah, right. After 3 years, you don't come around here with that food. You weren't going to do nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
and see, here's the thing: the ones out there that's doing this looting. See, these young people today are not brought up to respect authority.
That's right.
It's not going on at home. It's not going on at school. You know, you and I, if we didn't respect authority, we got our butt kicked.
That's right. Got the brakes beat off us, man.
You're damn right. If we walked past Miss Lula's house and we was cussing and stuff, Miss Lula would come out that porch, open that gate, and grab us.
And then you're going to get another whooping with Miss Lula. Let your mama know what house they're going to
Sure did.
None of this ain't going on no more,
These
man.
kids don't respect nothing. That's a lot of the problem with the police. All police ain't bad. Now, you got some people in there, skinheads and everything else, but all these cops not bad. And then when a police officer tells you to do something, just comply. That's all you got to do. Comply. And if they're doing wrong, then you got a mechanism to address that. But you can't be fighting and having court on the damn streets.
Well, I look at the situation. You're right about them being trained the right way when they're young. Because I was dating a sister one time, and she had 2 sons, and they were young boys. And I tried to talk to her. I said, well, now, I'm here with you now. I said, them boys there, I said, we need to do this, that, and the other. And she would never do it. And one day she told me, she said, you know what? She looked me straight in my eyes. She said, I know you telling me the truth. She said, I know that from the bottom of my heart. She said, but I just can't. I just love him. I say, so you won't love him to death? I say, I'm trying to keep him alive, and your emotions has gotten in the way that you won't love him to death. I said, now that boy coming here, and we in the bed. He got to be to the bus stop 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. You gets up out the bed, and all he got to do is walk down the road about 3 blocks, and he at the bus stop. But you getting up out the bed so he can go out there, get in the car, and you can pull him up to the bus stop, and he can get out the car instead of him getting up and walking to the bus stop. So what I did with him is I told him, I said, I want you to go with me. And I took him over where I was raised up, over on Grove Street. And I said, you see this house right here? I said, this is the house I was in when I was 14 years old. I said, now, I'm going to show you where I used to walk from this house and go to school. And I drove around the different blocks and all the little curves and stuff I went to and way over where I had to go. And I got to the school. I said, now, we at the school now. I said, I walked from the house that I showed you to this school every day, going and coming every day. Man, he panicked. When we got back home, he got out the car and he went in there and begging and pleading with his mama. And I could, if I get up and be walking, and somebody might jump on me and say all kind of stuff. And I said, man, this is incredible. And you know, she was getting up, and I said, well, I tell you what. I said, that's what I'm going to do. I said, I'm going to go back home, and I said, you and him can keep on with that namby-pamby business. I said, but 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, I ain't getting up. I'm gonna be at my house. I said, you can keep it going. I said, because I'm done. It ain't nothing I can do. I'm telling you what it is. I'm telling you how to transform it from a boy to man, but you don't want to do it.
You told him right. How's old Walter doing? You hanging in there?
Walter's doing fine, man. We just did a show past Sunday night. It was a wonderful show. We changed the format a little bit. We opened up the phone lines before Walter came on, and man, we had us a good old fashioned time, man. And
that sounds good.
Finally, I brought him in, and he got a chance to do his thing. And then after it was over with, he got a chance to talk to a lot of the brothers that wanted to talk to him and the sisters. So we had a pretty good show, fantastic show. Brother UL was on, and it was tight, because they were doing all the looting and stuff. I was concerned about him down there, and he said they didn't come his way, and they didn't destroy his business that he had there. So I was glad of that. But we did a
he better watch it.
Show.
He better get him a shotgun and watch it.
Man. Is they still carrying on out there like that?
Yeah, some play. I think they was up in Colorado today.
Yeah, went over there.
What I heard. Well, you got people that's doing that travel. That ain't them folks from the outside, Tarhaka. They from the outside.
Well, they're being paid to do this, and I think George Soros is behind the whole thing, man. He's buying the bricks. He's paying them. We even seen police loading bricks out their car. I said, man, what the hell is going on?
Something going on.
What is this?
Something going on.
They're trying to usher in this military presence down here on the ground. But one thing I know, because I was listening to the radio the other night, and they done brought the military. I think the military come in. Did they come in Minnesota or New York? One of these places.
It might have been New York. I don't think it was Minnesota.
But they brought in the military, and they put the military up in the hotel, and the hotel owner. The hotel owner said, I want them out of my hotel. See, when you bring a military to inside marching in onto a city grid, man, you got to ask yourself a question. Okay, if the military hit the ground at 5 o'clock in the morning, which they notorious for doing that, and they marching in this town, they on the ground. You got foot soldiers coming in, followed by armored personnel vehicles and tanks and all of this here. The question is, okay, where are you going to get lunch from? And if you got to take a leak, where are you going to go? And when lunchtime comes, where are you going to eat? And when the sun starts going down, where you going to spend the night at? And if you got to take a dunk, where is 3,000 men going to take one at?
Well, I tell you, when they leave, somebody knew they were there.
And this is what they're facing coming into the United States. See, we're looking at this thing like, whoa, the military here. Oh, Lord, everybody's scared, but we had to realize we're talking about people.
Well, you know
regardless
what?
Regardless how many weapons and uniforms they got on, these are people.
You know, we've seen the military come in many cases, National Guard in Chicago, Detroit. We've seen the military come in, and they come in kicking butt. Yeah. Oh, they stayed in until they kick butt. See, that's a different thing. Police going to do so much. When they bring the National Guard in, they're going to do much more. Now, I ain't never seen the Army come in, but if the Army came in, all bets off.
Oh, yeah.
All bets off. But I don't think the Army would it. But I seen instances where the damn National Guard should have came in and brought that stuff to an end. But see, the mayor and the governor's got to ask for that, other than Washington, D.C., not Trump. Washington, D.C. is a protectorate of the U.S. Congress. So he can have the National Guard do whatever he want to in Washington, D.C. He just respect that crazy mayor that had the damn street painted and all that stuff. Man, we got some silly people, ain't we? Huh? Have you ever seen anything like that?
I was like, what? It seemed to me that since we done shut down hockey, we shut down basketball, we done shut down football, we done shut down all of these major sports. They simply just ain't got nothing else to do. So we had to come up with some kind of entertainment to keep the people entertained until we can open this thing up and then shut down baseball and all that. And the American people ain't got nothing to do. You go out and you gonna paint the street, well, instead of painting the street, why don't you concentrate on, while you got time now, is to start repairing the tunnel systems and the water and sewer systems and the infrastructure of the United States and the potholes and all of this stuff. Why don't you concentrate on getting this done, removing the dilapidated buildings, getting rid of vermin, all of this stuff? Why don't we concentrate on doing some of that instead of going out, hiring somebody to paint Black Lives Matter
on the street?
Down the street, man. What is this? Who are these people, man? What kind of people are these?
I don't know where they find these folks, man. Wherever they are, I hope they close the door when they come in. Well, look, Tark, I'm going to get out of here and let you get back to your show.
Okay, Bianchi, I certainly appreciate you coming in, man. And
you keep
I'm going to go
now.
on back and finishing on. We only have a few more minutes left, and then I'll convert this thing. But thank you, man.
All right, thank you, too. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brother Tarhaka, he come in on this thing, and we've been rolling for a minute, so I'm going to go ahead and take another break, and then we'll be back, so we're going to run this thing until it goes away. Y'all hold on a minute.
It's important to just understand all of the things that the white supremacists do, because anything that you miss, that whatever you miss about the way they go about doing things, that's what's going to eventually trip you up. They already know that. I mean, the system of white supremacy is very, very, very finely tuned, like a smooth-running automobile engine. It's very fine-tuned, and they're always checking to see that that engine is running smoothly. If they hear any rattles or anything, I mean, they go and check on it immediately, because it's not supposed to happen. I mean, they want a smooth operation. And the refinement stage of white supremacy means they do it so smoothly that the average black person, the average non-white person will say, white supremacy, that doesn't exist. What's that fool talking about? What are these stupid people talking about some white supremacy? I do what I want to do. I go where I want to go. Nobody tell me what to do. You know, so then the white supremacist will look at that black person and say, that's exactly the way we want all of them to think, that we don't even exist. That everything, you know, that they're running everything, that black people run the world. That's the way we want them to think. That is the ultimate in the refinement stage of white supremacy. See, white supremacy goes through 4 stages. The first stage is establishment. I don't know when it was established. Some people say 600 years ago. Some people say 400 years. Some people say, no, 2,000 years. Then there are other people, depending on what scholar you talk to, say, oh, no, 6,000 years. That's when they really got established, 6,000 years ago. All right? That's a long time. Now, I say I don't know, but I do know that they are in business now, the biggest business on earth. No business is bigger than that, the system of white supremacy.
Okay.
So I'm saying I don't know when it's established, but it was established. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation. That's number one.
Okay.
And then the second stage is maintenance. Just like anything that you start, you want to maintain it. You want to go around, you know, You put together an aircraft or something like that. You come around and check, or you put together an air conditioning system or a plumbing system. You come and check it every now and then, see if it's running smoothly. That's what you call maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah, you see it, everything's in place. And then expansion is when you take in more people. Expansion.
That's the third stage?
Supremacy. And there's more people on the planet now than there was, say, 10,000 years ago or 200 years ago. More people on the planet. And most of them are non-white. So you're getting more and more people, you know, as your capital, you might say, in your business. You're taking in more and more slaves because they're being born. More people are being born all the time. And they're being born in your prison. All right, that makes your prison expand. All right, you make more room for them in your prison. Okay, and then the last stage, and this is the stage they want to stay in, refinement. You make your prison look like it's not a prison where the prisoners are concerned. Now you got a smooth operation situation.
Okay.
All right, where you have people walking around saying, nobody tells me what to do. I'm my own man. I'm 21 years old. I'm grown. All right, I ain't no child. I mean, you know, I go and do what I please, when I please, whatever I please, and have the non-white females doing the same thing.
Okay.
That's a perfect situation for a prison master.
Okay, let me get this straight. Establishment, maintenance, expansion, and refinement.
Establishment, maintenance, expansion, and refinement.
Okay.
Now, they're trying to stay in the refinement stage. But, you know, a lot of black people are saying, wait a minute. We're in a system of racism. You can't fool me about that. You know, hey, racism does exist.
Okay.
Racism is real.
Racism is real.
Now, you got a whole lot of black people who are saying that now.
Okay.
Not all over the world. Not near as many as should be. Nowhere near as many.
Okay.
But you have a substantial number. Now, that disturbs the white supremacist business. Because in the refinement stage, you're not supposed to be aware that there is such a thing as racism.
Correct.
All right? It's supposed to be so smooth. So they are arguing among themselves now. The white supremacists are.
Okay.
And see? I mean, I told you to keep this thing in the refinement stage. Now, you got others that are saying, no, it's kind of getting out of hand. We got to start using the hammer and the fist. We got to start gunning them down like we did in the old days. We got to be right in their face 24 hours a day.
Okay.
They said, yeah, that'll work for a little while, but all that'll do is stir them up. You don't want to stir them up. You don't want to woke them up. Let these Negroes sleep on. Don't woke them up. Let them sleep on. All right, keep them asleep.
Okay.
Refinement stage.
Refinement.
That way you can lay down and go to sleep, and they'll be waiting on you hand and foot, thinking that they're serving each other, thinking that they're serving themselves. That's what you want, a smooth-running machine.
All right.
There is a system of white supremacy, which is racism, which is designed to do what? Dominate and mistreat people of color. Anybody who is classified as black, brown, red, yellow, tan, beige, has a little bit of color in his or her skin, or somebody said that they did, even if a person looks white, but they say that, well, you got a great grandmother that had some color. All right. Oh, okay. Well, they're in the mistreatment category, right? Yep. Those are the people that you're supposed to mistreat because they got color in their skin. You know, if they got color in their skin, they're supposed to be mistreated. I mean, you know, something is out of order if they're not being mistreated now. You got to mistreat those people that's got color in their skin. Well, why is that? You know, because I said so. Is that the reason? Yeah. That's all it took.
That's all it took. Wow.
And it's a lot of benefits that go with it. See? It's a lot of benefits that go with that. Mistreating people based on color, having a whole category of people, black, brown, red, yellow, tan, beige, just have some color in their skin, and you can do anything you want to with that person, and nobody's supposed to say anything about it. Isn't that a wonderful proposition? Have somebody wait on you hand and foot, do whatever you say do, think the way you want them to think, on account of the color of their skin. Don't you think that that's a wonderful thing to have when you got millions of people like that right there at your beck and call? Ain't that wonderful? Yeah, well, but that, that sounds like that ain't right. Well, we're not talking about right and wrong now. We're talking about what's convenient. Oh, well, it is convenient. Well, then, that's all we need to think about, what's convenient. All right? I mean, that's natural, that's normal. People like to do what's convenient, and racism is convenient for any person classified as white. All right? End of story. Period. And so the average white person takes a look at that and say, well, what if we didn't have racism? Then that means you don't have a category of people that you can mistreat and get away with. Do anything you want to with. Use any kind of way you want to. Underpay them. Don't pay them at all. I mean, you're going to give that up? Give it up for what? What are you going to have if you give it up? Well, you got a point there. Yeah, I'll go with racism. So the average white person has every incentive to be a racist.
I see. Okay.
That's the bottom line that I want to, get to.
Okay.
Every white person, when given that kind of option, do you want the option of having people at your beck and call, people kissing your foot anytime you tell them to, and it ain't nothing they can do about it except kiss it? Isn't that a convenience? Well, you put it that way, it is. Now, you want to give it up and just have to everybody equal, which means you're going to have to work harder. You ain't got nobody to push around. When you get mad, you don't have nobody that you can go over across town and kick or shoot and whatnot. You just have to try to work it out. I mean, you don't have that convenience, Well, yeah, I see your point. Yes, I see your point. That's a wonderful point. Well, I know it ain't right, but it's convenient, like you say, and we'll worry about the right later. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, if ever.
If ever.
And that's all racism is, folks.
Okay.
That's all it is. It's a super convenience if you're white.
Okay, everybody, we're back. That was Dr. Neely Fuller. And keep in mind, don't forget, Courage to Change on YouTube by our sister Nicola M. Hurst. She was our special guest here tonight. I want to get down into some more of this stuff here. And I know I talk to you a lot of times about handling yourself. There's a difference between the world that I came from and what I'm witnessing here today in this society. This thing is, oh my goodness. I think what I'm looking at here today, among the brothers and sisters, if y'all was back in the day where I came from, a lot of you, I don't think you would have survived, because the stuff that I'm seeing going on now, it was non-existent. I mean, we didn't think like that, we didn't operate that way. And the discipline of the children, well, a lot of them are just simply no discipline at all. The cowardice and the weakness and the fear, and this stuff is phenomenal. And the shysterism, backbiting and backstabbing, and unbelievable what I'm witnessing today. So I leave that world closed off. It reminds me of the story when they came out with the movie that time called King Kong. These people got on the ship. They got cameras and they want to make a movie and a production. They go into this mysterious place that existed back in time. And they go to this mysterious island. And on the other side of this wall is that world that existed back in the day. And they tried to go up in there, but they ran into things that they had never seen, experiences that had never happened. But that world was a real world that existed at one time. And then there was this giant gorilla called King Kong, who was the king of that world. And they were trying to do the little movie production. They was trying to film it, and they done, which was all a bunch of junk. They supposed to done knock King Kong out, and we didn't see no way in the world how they got him on the ship. All we see is him back in New York City in chains. We supposed to have been bought this thing from that world into our world so that we can kill him. He climbs to the top of the Empire State Building. He's trying to protect his love for this European woman, and trying to fight off these jets and all of this him business, these airplanes, well, not jets, but airplanes with machine guns, and they shooting him, and he on top of the building doing what he has always done from the world that he came from, and that is ruling the world. And they gunned him down, and he falls down off of the building to his death. And now all of the Europeans, they coming out and looking at him, and we have destroyed something that we took from another world and brought it to our world and killed it because it got out of our hands. And all of this business, and he had this European woman, and all of this kind of stuff was going on. But anyway, I have to go back to the changing of status, because once again, in my personal opinion, there's no such thing as black people. Black people do not have any standing in law. Black people do not have any rights. Everybody on the planet got a nationality. So my question is, what is your nationality? Area code 864. Your hand is raised. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. Hello, how are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine. Who am I speaking to, and where you calling from?
My name is Equanese from calling from South Carolina, brother.
Okay, man. What's your take on this stuff, man?
Well, just looking at the current place that we find ourselves in, as as you said, we refer to ourselves as black people, brown people, and we see, in my opinion, the one thing that is very important to understand about law when dealing with the European, when it comes down to his relationship between the European and us, the black or African people, it's always been the one where he's looked to extort us. You understand? He's always looked to play from what, in my definition, I call it the Ric Flair dirty white man role. He's going to go in the trousers and, grab the brass knuckles. He's going to hit you, below the belt. This is just the reality when you're looking at the European and his tactic against us, the black, the African, melanated. We call ourselves a lot of different names, and I think the reality is even when we look at the playbook that is being utilized by the European, I don't think he cares what we identify ourselves as. And the reality is that even if we said we are not black, we are this, the European is still going to look for us to have an equal might. So the only type he really understands is violence. That's the only thing that he understands is war, right? That's how he takes things over. That's how he, quote unquote, accomplishes things, is by warring. You understand? So when we're looking at the law that we have within a parameter or within a paradigm, which the very folks that run the law or over the law are basically the ones that are practicing guerrilla warfare. These are the ones that practice a very barbarian style, a very, very, very barbarian type of tactic. You understand? This is the European. And he still, even when we see what's embodied in Donald Trump, you understand, this kind of lets us know that good old boy mentality that's basically brute with power. That's that same brute power that came by way of slave master passing his power down instead of a whip. He passed on dollars. He passed on generational wealth. So it was still an opportunity for those that were in power still to remain in power or keep their foot on the necks of those whom had supported and whom they had given, so much power to. So I think it's very important that we do understand, nationality. We should be tied back into something that's organically true, organically substantial for us as it relates to nation, right? It's very important. That's why it's very important. A lot of people say there's no reason to go back and study history. There's no reason. This is the importance of studying that history so you can understand who you are and what you are tied into, knowing that there is a flag that represents you or should be a flag that represents you, that represents the body, the body of policies that represent who you are. And I think even when you're talking about when we're here, we wind up trading in any type of nationality or any type of flag that we could have to genuinely, organically represent who we are. We trade that in to become Republican or Democrat. You understand? We trade that in for that. So now we're utilizing this flag that has never really gave a damn about us. We're utilizing this flag to represent who we are. Therefore, we're here in 2020 wondering why the slave master still doesn't like or love the slave when, somewhere we must understand law. So I think it's very important to continue this conversation, one that we should take home and have and discuss with our children and create the continuity within our culture that is actually going to establish us to the place of where, where we can be, grounded. You understand? Because one thing about the European, we can write laws and law books and all this stuff, but he doesn't understand that. He will always move and alter and change he's going to move the goalposts on you. You understand? So the reality, as long as he's in control, and the reality is that he has control, he has military might right now that gives him this clout. That's why Donald Trump feels so pompous. You understand? Because he has military might. He has these boys set and ready to go whenever he says it. So this is the thing that we are going to equally need on our side. Even if it not be something that could meet the military, it's something that could show that, hey, who you are, your law, your people, your nationality is being represented, and we ain't really going to mess with you. But it's kind of hard to have or ever have a nation existing truthfully within another nation, even such as America. So, I think we'll wind up getting ourselves out of it, but it's not going to be an easy fix, I don't think.
Well, brother, I have to agree with you 100%, but and this is not a but. I like to just simply add on. The way I see it, this is my own personal assessment, is first of all, there's no such thing as black people. All of us on this landmass never, we didn't come here on slave ships, and the slave ships that supposedly come here and this, that, and the other, all this was a story that was told to us. And and then they got this thing about the DNA and tracing your ancestry and all this right here. And what I found is very, very strange, because any of us that do this DNA tracing and all of this business, we was always told that there was some place in Africa that we came from. Never at any time where we ever said that we was native to this land here, and meanwhile, the so-called native, so-called Indians are quiet, but nobody has ever come up and say, well, we've discovered that you, as dark as you are, as is indigenous or native to this land. So when I look at that situation there, and I deal with the fact that everything that was told to me about slavery came from somebody else, it was written by somebody else, and the story that it was told. I don't see any film footage. I don't see anything other than pictures and stuff of this nature. And I know for a fact, because I teach law, that a Negro, black, colored, African American, none of that have any standing in law. And which does not detract from you physically doing what you have to do to protect yourself and your family, your skills and your technology. I think that acknowledging ourselves from our true, verifiable ancient story and history about our culture on this land, and the fact that Egypt is in the east and the west, and the Moors and the Egyptians are one of the same people, I think it's a wonderful thing that if we go ahead and change what we're calling ourselves and what we are responding to when it comes to this thing about black versus the fact that your nationality is Egyptian, your nationality is Moor and stuff, which does not detract from what you're going to have to do. I think that's a wonderful thing that we should do. That's just my personal opinion, because if we look at the ancient story of the ancient Egyptians in the Americas, now I'm not talking about Africa. We know all about what we did on that continent, but what is being covered up is our ancient story in this hemisphere. And in my opinion, based on the research that I've done, this what we did here was first, and what was in Africa was second, based on the research that I'm doing and all this stuff. But nevertheless, I see my brother Carl undrop. I'm gonna take another quick break, and when we come back, because we need to know, man, what these folks are up to now. We're gonna go ahead and close on out the broadcast. Y'all hold on for a minute. We'll be right back.
What are the white supremacists doing now? They're doing four basic things: racial showcasing, racial population tailoring, racial dislocation, and white sacrificing. And these four things are designed to produce maximum sophisticated confusion among the victims. And so far it's been somewhat successful worldwide. Now I'll start with the first one. What is racial showcasing? That means taking huge numbers of black people and putting them out front. There's going to be more of this all over the planet. Many millions of black people that you will see who will be rolling in money. They'll be able to showcase the places where they live. They'll be able to showcase their knowledge and expertise. So you have television now, you have all of the mediums for doing this, for showcasing huge numbers of black people. I will say it will eventually run into the millions, so many that you won't be able to count them. Now, what is this for? This is for any black person that starts talking about racism in the future is going to be laughed at, because they're going to be able to showcase so many black people who are what you call quote unquote successful, that it will seem that racism has been put out of business. But white supremacy is a world business, and like any other business, it works on profits and losses. which means percentages. You go into business, you expect a certain amount of loss. If you're in the grocery business, well, you might have a load of asparagus that is spoiled. But overall, you will make more profits than you have losses if you're going to stay in the business. Now, so the white supremacists know that the cost of doing the business of white supremacy is going up. They can no longer get away with Joe Louis and Lena Horne like they did years ago. They have to have many, many, many more black people who are going to be showcased. I made up this term just to explain it. You have to make up terms because they won't make them up for you. So now that's the first phase, or one of the first elements in the maximum confusion. And so that black people won't be able to say, they'll say, well, you know, it must be something wrong with me that I'm down and out and don't have a biscuit to eat, because there are so many millions of black people who have so much, so it can't be race. But see, for the 4 or 5 million black people who will be showcased, there will be hundreds of millions worldwide who won't have a biscuit. That's the way the business operates in the future and will be. That's the way it seems to be going according to what? The evidence, according to the logic. The other is racial population tailoring. That's number 2, meaning they're going to be killing huge numbers, either directly or indirectly, of non-white people. When I say black people, I mean, you know, non-white. Anybody who's in the non-white category, and doing this on an ongoing basis. Not to try to kill them all, because when you're in the business of racism, you don't kill off the thing that you need in order to keep racism going. Your ego trip, which is what it's really all about. But you do tailor the population so you can keep them controlled. So you'll kill off a few million in the Congo, then a few years up the road, you'll kill off a few million in Nigeria, and a few years up the road, you'll kill off a few in Mexico, and on and on and on. And you will highly select the places where you do this. You'll have it all computerized, where you kill off huge numbers, or you have them, even better still, kill off each other, like you do in most of the cities in the northwestern part of the world, called the northwestern hemisphere. Having black people gun down each other, you know, non-white people, the brown people gunning down each other, gangs and all that other foolishness, see? And you kill them off, you know, and you just keep this going and you egg it on. And you put things in place that will see to it that it just keeps going that way. It never stops, because that's the mentality of the people. And this is racial population tailoring. In other places where the people are reasonably sane, they don't have a tendency to kill off each other, then you do things like dry up the water, or poison the rivers, dump toxic waste. There's all kinds of ways to do that racial population tailoring. All right, then the other, number 3, is racial dislocation. Keep them moving. People who are forever on the move through eminent domain, urbanization, urban renewal, gentrification, or, here again, drying up the river. You build a dam 800 miles up, and the river seals off the water behind the dam. I mean, the dam is sealed off, the river is sealed off behind the dam. So that means that all the people down in the valley there, they don't get any water. They need water. They depend on the fishing industry. So now they have to come and work for you, because there's no more water there, no more fish. And you give them minimum wage and a promise for the future as long as they look up to you. So they'll know they're completely dependent. But keep them moving. If a black person in the northwestern hemisphere starts getting that second-generation house, then you come through and say you got to build a highway. That's the technique. Now, these are things that you asked about how the white supremacists operate. These are the ways that they operate. The white sacrificing is the 4th. And this is, here again, all 4 of these things are for maximum sophisticated confusion among the victims. So you're not confused. You're keeping your victims confused. So you have white sacrifices, meaning it's kind of parallel to the racial showcasing. But these people in this case are white. like in any army or any military operation, you know you're going to have some losses. So some white people are written off under the system of white supremacy. And a lot of white people are aware of this. They don't like it, but they are told that this is the cost of doing business. Just like a person who goes into the army and knows full well you might get killed, but it goes with the territory of trying to defend your bigger operation. So white sacrifices mean you'll have more and more white people on park benches, more and more white people begging on streets. They will be greatly visible. But what you won't pay attention to, because black people never pay much attention to what white people are doing, we just watch each other. See, they know that. You'll be passing millions of white people who are doing well on any city street. And for the handful of white people who have fallen through the cracks, you might say, sitting in front of the subways or begging in front of these delicatessen, for the handful that you see doing that, up under the bridge and all like that, it will give the illusion that it's not about race, that white supremacy is officially out of business. So there will be more of these white sacrifices, and they will be greatly visible. But compared to the number of white people who will be prospering, it will be very negligible worldwide. Now those are the four maximum sophisticated confusion elements.
Okay, y'all, let's take a look at the health benefits of moringa powder. We got it right there at newdeadelimination.org. Now, moringa powder, when it comes to the moringa benefits, there are almost too many to count, in my personal opinion. Is the delicious, spinachy, green flavored, perfect for boosting your curries, your stews, your casseroles, soups, salads, green smoothies, and much more. It's 25% plant protein, including all 9 essential amino acids, 24% fiber. It's a rich source of iron, vitamin K and E, a source of vitamin A and calcium, high in antioxidants. Moringa powder has 10 times the vitamins of carrots, 12 times the vitamin C of oranges, 17 times the calcium of milk, 15 times the potassium of bananas, 25 times the iron of spinach, and 9 times the protein of yogurt. As moringa powder is a natural source of these nutrients, it is highly bioflavorable, so your bodies can absorb the benefits more easily. NewDebtElimination.org. Get your moringa powder today. NewDebtElimination.org.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that comes to the end of our broadcast. I've been your host, Tarhaka Amana El Bey. Until next time, y'all have a good evening. Goodbye.